Hi, welcome to the London Web Summit. We're joined by Peter Sunde from Flattr and Pirate Bay. We're going to talk about the issues in using alternative monetary systems over the web. Peter, you mentioned earlier about the illegality of using different systems. Can you tell us a bit about that? Why we aren't free to use different methods of financial transactions on the web?
Well, mostly I would say it's for legal reasons, that all of the money has always been centralized. All the banks want them to be centralized, the government wants them to be centralized so they can control the flow of money. For political reasons, for financial reasons, for tax reasons, it's different reasons. Some of them are valid, some are not. And that's what every time I talk about Bitcoin, people are upset that I say that Bitcoin is probably illegal. Because in order to have some sort of currency, you have to have some sort of anti-money laundering scheme, you have to have some sort of anti-terrorist scheme, you're not allowed to have customers with certain names, and you have to follow all of these regulations, which is, if you don't do it, you're breaking the law. And that is the problem that you have in most of these different things. And with Bitcoin, the big difference is that you are your own bank. So if you don't follow the anti-money laundering law, you're breaking it, and it's a very heavy fine to do that. So most people would not consider that, and as long as Bitcoin is really small, no one would really care. But with WikiLeaks and big, brands and big names using it, it becomes more and more obvious, and it's going to be some sort of attack against the system because of that. And if you're not aware of that being a problem, you're going to have a problem yourself.
So for the individual small guy, it would just cost too much money to cover those laws like anti-money laundering or having lists of names.
Yeah, you need licenses which cost millions of dollars and euros depending on where you are. Essentially, you need a banking license to run Bitcoin. Either we need to change the laws and we have to make it possible for everyone to run their own system. That's going to be a really long way before it happens, if it happens at all, because there's no interest from the governments or from the banks, which are going to lobby heavily against all of this, because decentralized money is good for the average people, and that's what we did with physical currency. But with digital currency that we could spread like Bitcoin, that becomes a threat instead of a possibility. And since you and I could exchange money without someone knowing about it, and I'm a socialist. I love that people pay tax. I want people to pay tax. So for that reason, I see that there's a need for it. But then again, I also see that there's a trade-off somewhere, that you need to be able to give money without the government saying yes or no. You need to be able to give money without banks saying yes or no. That's what we've seen in the banking blockade against WikiLeaks, not even charged with anything, and still they're blocked from being able to take money from people or people giving money to people. So it's a censorship where you have effectively blocking people, you're censoring people within the system, and you're doing it with the government, fine with it, because they don't like the recipient. But the problem is that, we might be okay with WikiLeaks, but then in the end it's going to be you, because you need to defend every extreme case as well. So I'm really scared of what's happening in that sphere right now. And I think it's really important that we discuss these things and talk about the issues and look at how we want to have things, because status quo is not good. And we see also, like in Sweden, there is less than 3% of all money transactions are in cash. Average in Europe would be 9%. And if you're down to 3% and you want to get rid of the last 3%, it means that everything you do will be monitored, everything you do in terms of, if you want to give money to the Red Cross, that's fine, because you can stand for it. But if you want to buy porn, you want to give money to left-wing or right-wing extremist party because you really believe in their cause, it's not illegal for you. But you have to stand up for that because everyone can see that you did that. And that is a problem.
And how far could something like Bitcoin replace the current financial methods of payment, cash or credit cards or PayPal, those sort of things?
I think not very far because of the legality of it. So if I'm a company, I want to accept Bitcoin, I'm going to break the law. So between people, yes, sure, we can have people sending money between them, but there has to be some outlet where you exchange that money to some sort of other currency. We're not going to have a barter system. We're not going to have that. It's too late for that. We should probably look at it, but I don't think it's going to happen. So I think it will only be for maybe, it will have to be kept shady. And that's a problem, because legally we have to keep it shady, but as a society we should maybe look at the possibilities of not having it shady. We should do something positive around it.
And just lastly, what are the main benefits? Someone who doesn't know about Bitcoin, what does it do for people that normal cash or PayPal transactions doesn't?
Well, it's a totally decentralized system where you can send money to anyone and no one can stop you from doing it, effectively making you your own bank. And you keep your money on your wallet, which is a digital wallet, and if you lose the wallet, you lose the money. So you actually keep the coins digitally signed on your own computer, which means that no one can take them from you, no bank can seize them, no one can decide who you can send to. So truly decentralized, no middleman, and that's basically it. It's revolutionary in that way, but it's probably going to be stopped for law.
Thanks a lot for joining us and explaining that. This is Glenn McMahon for Vision on TV here at the London Web Summit.